if we'd like to do so.
Then you have to give us another beginning for this brief intro. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you again, Andrew. So we are in our second session for the Indigenous Unity Summit, IGU Summit, week 48. And so I have done an introduction, and now we have, we were supposed to have our guest speaker, Paul Malaluke from South Africa, coming on to give his presentation, but unfortunately he may not be able to connect. So we will have an open discussion group.
So then perhaps at the beginning, we could allow our attendees to introduce themselves if they so choose, and then move forward after that.
Yes, that sounds great. We haven't heard from everybody for some time. So if people would like to introduce themselves, we can start perhaps with Ms. Osunye.
Good morning, love, light, peace, and blessings. And that is Awo Ifafunke Oshunye.
Oshunye, okay, thank you.
Good morning. Peace to everybody.
Good morning. Good afternoon. In the USA, good afternoon. It's Rugiatu Sisi.
Hello, Rusiatu. I'd ask to perhaps if people do introduce themselves, introduce also what is their business, what is their relationship with the network, and as well where they are located.
And can I throw in with Awu that yeah, if you can cover, because I mentioned I've talked to Professor Lloyd, and it mentioned the fashion network. So if you share some of your interests, because and also the hip hop, I think is something we talked about before you were having internet problems.
Thank you, Prophet. Perhaps you could introduce yourself as well.
I'll let others who are new go first, if that's okay. Is that okay, or doesn't matter? I can be obedient. What do you want me to do?
Go ahead. You're live already.
Okay. So I am Prophet Anyanwu Cox, and I put a lot of stuff in the chat. With the network here, I'm the lead for the Unity Health Network, which I'm very grateful for because I've been in health for a whole bunch of years. I kind of hate to say just how long, but it's been a long time. I'm into holistic. I'm trained as a registered nurse, a licensed and ordained minister, degree in instructional technology. So I'm a community educator and educator overall in terms of, I even have been known to stop at red lights to roll down my window and teach people about what's coming in the world, laundromats, wherever I go, sides of the road and all that. So I'm an educator. I'm also one of 15 African-Americans that were selected to be on the 400 Years of African-American History Commission. Was supposed to start in 2018 and sunset in July 2020, but they've extended us each year. And so we extended again into 2023 because of so many issues that are facing our nation. And that's a part of that. I'm also co-founder of the International Institute for Health and Wellness, as well as Safe Healthy Spaces, which I co-founded with my daughter. We do work around racism, anti-racism, decolonizing the mind for people of African descent, most specifically, but because I have so many people I engage with who are non-African descent, they ask us to also have something for healing, of a healing nature for them as well. So we also have ally series, courses that we do as well around healing. So healing is my number one thing, probably, other than the fact that prophetically being called, literally called, and I hesitate to say this sometimes, but I say it more on here because it doesn't seem to freak people out, called by the audible voice of God to be a prophet. And I also do, a lot of that is tied to my healing work in terms of being able to have some sense of intuitiveness around health and wellness. But then also because I know and have seen visually, I guess we're on live. Okay, so I didn't realize that now. So, but anyway, that there are some things coming to the planet, to the world. And so there are many of us who are preparing, and we're hoping that others are preparing for the fact that we're never going back to what we thought was normal. In fact, there are things coming that are going to impact all of us. And we're trying to get as many on that arc of safety as possible before the last shoe drops. So I hadn't planned on saying all that, but that's what that is. Okay, thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Prophet. And I have to mention as well, I mean, your message, that last message, is not the only voice that I've heard. There are many in the network as well who are concerned or seeing some visions as well. And I think it all,
Because
again,
I'm always looking for others who saw that. Most people are saying a jubilee or something is coming, but not so. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
mhm. So perhaps again, Tony Reynolds, you may want to introduce yourself.
Okay. Good morning again. I am Awo Ifafunke Oshunye. I am a holistic therapist in Kansas City, Missouri. I am the founder and president of the Tony Reynolds Family Charitable Foundation, ordained minister of IFA Ministries. I'm a co-owner in the International Institute for Health and Wellness, which is a nonprofit. I have a LLC, Grandma's Hands Holistic Therapy and Products. Pretty much everything is integrated into everything I do. So I'm a Reiki master teacher, energy healing practitioner, holistic therapy practitioner. I'm an Ifa priestess, always in training, traditional African herbal medicine, or certified life coach, master herbalist, practitioner of neuro-linguistic psychology or programming, master aromatherapist. I teach Hatha yoga, and I'm also an internationally certified Kundalini yoga teacher, Tai Chi instructor, Qigong, soul healing practitioner, crystal and gemstone therapist. I also take people to Arkansas and other places to dig for crystals as I teach them about how to use crystals for healing. So I'm also on my son's board of directors of 95th Street Records. He's a recording artist and a vocalist, and he does hip hop and R&B music too. I think I'm also a Young Living brand partner, Nutrilite vitamin mineral supplement distributor, and also a board member of my son's trucking business, Run Logistics LLC in Kansas City, Missouri.
And you're interested in fashion, real quick, you're interested in fashion, because that's really.
Oh, I forgot about that. I've been a fashion designer and tailor for over 50 years. I also formerly taught tailoring at the local vocational school here in Kansas City, where every year I integrated their musical talents with our fashion show. That's how I got them to come to school and do their homework, was that their reward was at the end of the year, we did a fashion show and a talent show. So I also integrated a lot of the artists from Kansas City that are now on the charts, or they were on the charts because they're older now, so they don't do as much, but we have that connection also. So I still do fashion design and tailoring. I just don't tell very many people because I like making clothes for people, but I also like healing people from the inside.
Mm.
Thank you.
Wow, quite a portfolio right there.
Okay.
So perhaps we can hear from Juliet Miabo.
No, after that, I don't think I have anything to say.
Come on, Juliet.
Hers would be
Wow.
longer. Come on, just do half of yours. We still have an hour.
Well, actually, you know what? No, that was an awesome introduction. My name is Juliet Miabo. I will keep mine brief. Yes, I'm originally from South Africa. I was born and bred in South Africa. Some that I hardly mentioned, but I should mention, I'm actually a mother of two. And I'm a graduate in areas of sociology. I specialized in political sciences and political philosophy. I studied at the University of Cape Town, and that is where my daughter is now, but she's doing the money side. She's doing economics and she's doing her honors there. My I work currently with an organization, or I'm actually the founder, the co-founder of an organization called the Soweto CSI Council. And the Soweto CSI Council is also aligned to Soweto Business Collaboration. The main objective that of Soweto CSI Council is to get business, both local, regional, national, and international, and obviously global business, to do good in local communities. So Soweto CSI Council, also for those who don't know, Soweto means Southwestern Township. I know it sounds like a name itself, and we are using it as a name, but it's actually an acronym for Southwestern Townships of Johannesburg. So the whole idea is that Soweto as it's almost like an epicenter of democracy of South Africa, or an epicenter of the struggle of South Africa. We all know that Mandela, the Sisulus, everyone else comes from Soweto. They might have moved from another part of South Africa, but they moved to Soweto. And Soweto is actually a symbol of democracy, freedom, and transformation. So when we're saying Soweto CSI Council, we're actually representing those values that need to actually happen in various parts of the country. As someone says that if Soweto starts burning, trusted, the following day the whole country will start burning, and also that also links to the good things. That is why, as an organization and what I do, we touch on various aspects of people's lives. So as Prophet Anya was saying, that her work is all about healing, healing, healing. In all the circles that I'm in, my work is all about people, people, people. When I sit with people who are saying prophet, prophet, I say, okay, how much of that goes to people, people, people? So they don't like me that much, but the corporate social investment is now becoming real, and it needs to happen. But it's not just about getting corporate social investment happening in communities. It's about getting the appropriate social investment and the relevant social investment programs. Today, as I was driving to Soweto, driving past the mine dumps, or the remnant of the mining that happened in Johannesburg or close to Soweto, I was observing the number of tennis courts that are dilapidated, that were built by whoever thought tennis courts were relevant. But obviously, as I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, okay, these are good skating rinks. So I'm mentioning that because there could be programs in the townships, not just Soweto, all the townships of South Africa and the rural areas. But what is important is that whatever program and projects that happen must actually have relevance to the lives of people, because there's no point building a tennis court when people can't even afford a tennis racket, never mind tennis balls. Yes, so that's basically what we're all about, the Soweto CSI Council. And our focus in my other programs, such as Towards and Kids, is to work with children, because we believe, and I believe, that the only way that you'll get a healthy society is by actually building and nurturing healthy children. So in Towards and Kids, as it says, we start working with children in the vulnerable and volatile communities from the ages of 2, because so that by the time they're able to construct a full sentence, they've already have established positive values. So the whole idea is to nurture a good seed so that you're able to get a good fruit, because the problems we see in our societies are problems, whether it's crime, whether it's drug addiction, whatever it is, or alcoholism. Those are actually just the fruit of the fact that the seed, or the small seedling, or the small tree was never nurtured properly. In isiZulu, there's a word that says ligotshwa lisemanzi. So ligotshwa lisemanzi means you bend a tree while it's still small, in order to shape the direction that you want it to be. So Tots and Kids is all about that. But unfortunately, with the society that we live in, you can't work with Tots and Kids without having to work closely with parents. And unfortunately, 70% of Black children or children in townships are raised by their mothers or by their grandmothers, which is unfortunate because we have a problem of absent fathers, or if they are present but not active in people's lives. So what we then do, Tots and Kids extends its program to also women, especially in the areas where we give psychosocial support. And in the areas of women, okay, while under Tots and Kids, we have a program called Bokuku. Bokuku is a Sepedi word, because if we all know everything that comes from South Africa, most things where people use Zulu. So we have the Lion King, we have Mufasa, we have Aguna Matata, we have Ubuntu, Umuntu Ngabantu, all those words are Zulu. And there's unfortunately not enough representation of other languages. So we use the word Bokuku, which means elderly in Sepedi, which is also a respectful way. So with the Tots and Kids, we are recognizing that the children are raised by the elderly. So we have a program where we do food security, legal support, total support, or holistic support for Bokuku. And one of the things that we're also looking at and we're discussing with the people like Prophet Anyawu and other associates is the issue of healing, because a lot of the Bokuku, a lot of the families are seated with generational trauma that unfortunately, unless it's healed, they then will affect this tree that in our program we are trying to nurture, because you can bend a tree towards a certain direction, and when the child goes to whatever home, if the mother or the Bokuku or the father or anyone else, if they are not healed or they are damaged, inverted commas, they will actually reverse the work that's been done. So other than that, I'm also an activist. I'm a woman activist, and I work in various areas. I've worked in Bogoto month, and I work with other Imbogotos. Imbogotos is a grinding stone, but in South Africa, it's known for, it's a word that's synonymous to women. And the whole idea is to actually not talk the issue of equality and gender balance, but actually to put it into action. I am also a founder of Gemma Skaters Youth Development, which is a youth development program, but we focus in the area of sport, because sport, as the speaker spoke earlier on, or the introduction, sport attracts young people. With sports, you can have music, you can have entertainment. And one of the things that we do under Gemma Skaters Youth Development is that to participate in our programs and to benefit, you have to follow the 4D principles. We emphasize discipline, dedication, we emphasize dependability, and we also emphasize desperation. And someone will say, oh no, but desperation is not positive. No, it is positive. If you want to win and you want to do well in any sport, you will desperately exercise and you will use, so desperation will drive you to want to do well because you want to win. So we're using that, and I have a program under that called Putting Youth to Work. In the past 2 years, we've been able to put over 100 young people into various jobs. I use my personal networks, my corporate networks to lobby for young people to get opportunities for employment. And in that program, I'm going to be specific, we are biased towards South African Black youth, who most of which have been promised by our government that if they go to school, there will be opportunities. So that program is also another way of mitigating the potential civil war or the uprisings that happen when people see people from other countries having jobs. So that is our contribution to say, let's put South African youth to work so that they don't sit there and want to attack everyone else who's from outside South Africa who's working. Other than that, I'm part of Global UnityNet South Africa. I am passionate about various areas. I work, I've worked with different ministers. I've worked with Lindiwe and with Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka. I work as Gemma Productions, my private company. I'm in the area of media, music. I've done music around HIV/AIDS. Currently, we're working on a music on a song to highlight the disaster so that the proceeds of the song can go towards helping with the disaster relief that's happening in KwaZulu-Natal. So we are currently putting together some artists and working on lyrics for a song that can come out. And when we're discussing today, we're saying the song is not going to be a sad song to say, okay, there's death, but it's going to be more like find strength within yourself to stand up and overcome what has just happened. So it's going to be more a zivuselele. Zivuselele is a Zulu word for lift yourself up. So the theme zivuselele, Professor Lloyd, I know you might want to use that later in one of your slides. Zivuselele is a theme that also works in communities to say to them, find a way of doing it for yourself. You don't always have to rely on external factors or on other people. So with this song, that is going to be the mission to say, find a way to start raising and rebuilding and restoring your community. But I'm not going to continue further than that because that will take the whole night. But I think that summarizes in a nutshell who I am, a big nut.
A big nut. And we must actually, I hope we'll be able to play that song you just mentioned during our second Tea Diplomacy Initiative event, if that's possible as well.
Yeah.
If I could ask you to put that word you just mentioned, I can't even say it.
Zivuselele, I will write it in.
Yes, please write it in the chat so we have that on record about that word and what it means, so we can look it up and
okay.
we can also feature it possibly during, as you said, either these ITU Summit events or perhaps during our ITU or our Tea Diplomacy event.
Okay.
So
I know I forgot something.
Briefly.
Can I say something?
Briefly, yes.
Yes, which is that it's also aligned to the fact that through these networks and these platforms, I've had an opportunity to meet and to start working with His Royal Highness Prince Andrew Network, who's Prince Andrew Williams Jr., who is, I see him as my mentor because my experience compared to his, mine is like minute. So under AHIABGA television, my area of passion is area of content development, which is what I do under Gemma Productions. But I'm also learning how to use the Andrew Network and AHIABGA television to expand and build content for media platforms.
thank you very much again, Juliet. So I'm seeing Rujiatu, did you want to expand a little bit about what you're doing as well?
Yeah, hello. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Rujiatu Sise. I'm born and raised in Sierra Leone, West Africa. But presently I'm in the United States of America. I'm a nurse in Virginia, Alexandria. But I have my organization in Sierra Leone. When I'm helping women, empower women, the organization name Maurula Development Organization, which the nickname is MADO. The organization is about to empower women and children, helping children in education, helping women to empower them, widows, and human rights. So presently, I'm helping them for the poor people, and I'm a master farmer too in my country in Sierra Leone, West Africa. I'm doing farming to help women to empower their children for their education. So for now, I don't have much to say. I'm just want to tell you guys, I have 3 kids that they're here in the United States. One is an NP as a registered nurse. I have a registered nurse. I have a nurse practitioner, and I have an engineering. So I don't have much to say, but I'm just trying to tell you guys, I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa. I'm empower women from Sierra Leone, help the poor people so that they need help in Sierra Leone. And our country is, my organization just focusing on empower of women and children.
Thank you,
I'm the CEO of the organization.
Mhm. So perhaps we could have, I saw, quickly, she's still here, Stephanie Schuller as well as on the line.
For sure. Thank you, Lloyd. And thank you, Prince Andrew. And thank you, everybody. My name is Stephanie Schuller, and I'm based in Toronto, Canada. And I'm so honored to be here with everybody. So much learning to be had just within this network. I'm so grateful for all of your talents. My main focus is holistic education and learning. I've worked a lifetime with children and youth, intergenerational communities, differently abled communities. I'm currently completing my doctoral studies at the University of Toronto, OISE, the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education. And my focus in holistic education is looking at the social and emotional implications of being labeled at young ages, such as learning disabilities or language-based disabilities, and how that imprints on a child being told that they're less than and they're not making the mark. I'm so thrilled for everybody in this group who is dedicated to holistic well-being, especially through sports and the arts and play. I have a degree in play, and I have degrees in anthropology and psychology and sociology. I love communities. I love all ages. I believe in intergenerational experiences. And I agree too that play and sport and the arts and all those areas that are shortchanged in the school systems are really key in ensuring that kids are balanced and diversified and not just sedentary or isolated, and not just focused on intellectual and academic pursuits, but also in physical, spiritual, psychological, emotional, social, ecological, environmental, and so on. I am the co-founder and director of the Maui Aloha Project Eco-Village Initiative, Global Eco-Village Initiative, which is aimed towards celebrating multiliteracies, honoring all identities, all of our indigenous and cultural backgrounds and wisdoms, to be stewards of the earth and prioritizing sustainable and regenerative food and housing and social solutions. I'm also the co-founder and co-chair of the Global Unity Network, UNI, and the co-founder and director of the Unity Learning Network for the purposes of addressing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through communication and practical food systems learning, to name a few of the things. But I'm also a Qigong practitioner, and I also practice reflexology and also Lomi Lomi Hawaiian massage therapy. So I'm glad for so many of you who have hands-on experience. Just to give the human touch to another person is a beautiful gift. And so much more I can say. So many of you, I'm excited by all of your particular focus and special focus on the well-being of children and youth and communities around the world, and all of the medicines and wisdoms that you each behold. I am looking forward to learning myself and to be able to help facilitate the knowledge, so many of the knowledges that we've forgotten in our societies, in our Western and developed societies. And I'm grateful for you as the teachers, for all of us as the teachers together. Thank you.
Oh, Lloyd, I muted you. I apologize, Lloyd. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you very much, Stephanie. I didn't notice I was muted. So I wanted to say thank you for that introduction. And if there is anybody else that would like to introduce themselves, especially if you are new to these Thursday meetings of our IGU Summit events. I'm seeing, for instance, Carol Gondway or Crystal Brown or Doris Kamagara, or anybody else that may wish to say a few words about themselves and how they found out about us, especially if you are new to this network. Please put your contact information into the chat so that we can continue to keep you informed of our events, and we will invite you into our networks, one of the relevant network of networks that we have, all now on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp for the most part. I was also saying that I actually only have about 15 minutes or so for myself as well. These calls can continue even if I'm off the call myself, but I do have another event coming up at 1 o'clock that I will need to get to. Other than that, I would like to see if we can have anybody else from our network, such as Samson, introduce themselves if there are no other volunteers. And if not Samson, perhaps Irwa.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, now we have
You can
Samson
hear me?
as well as Irwan, but Irwan, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Irwan Rusli. I'm with Rusli Institute of Technology. We currently doing program on poverty alleviation in collaboration with the Global Unity Network and AHIABGA-TV. And it's ongoing right now, and hoping that we will be start in terms of searching for funding for the program. Mainly we're dealing with the African countries, also other countries like Asian, Nepal, as well as others. So I'm also trying to start a program with Rugi Sisei, who just introduced herself, in terms of trying to provide some item to be donated into her program, where she has some ongoing active program as far as donating to Sierra Leone. So I'm hoping this will be a more active, more broad program in terms of poverty alleviation, empowerment, as well as technology application, so that either in the healthcare, education, employment, training, and so on. So it's a very much comprehensive and integrated program. Thank you.
Thank you, Irwan. So now perhaps we can go to Samson. He was coming on at the same time, but I would like that Samson, if he can introduce himself as well.
Yeah, thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's meeting. As you have heard from Lloyd, I'm Samson Olwach from Kenya, Homa Bay County. That is southern part of Kenya. I am the director and the founder of Bridges of Hope Kenya. Bridges of Hope Kenya is a community organization that actually deals with focusing on 5 major objectives that we want to achieve depending on the analysis that we did. Number 1, we focus on holistic agriculture. We also focus on holistic education. We focus on youth, women empowerment programs. We are also focusing on ecosystem and environmental conservation, and that deals with mainly agroforestry and agribusiness, whereby we try to conserve and maintain our culture and our environment. We also focus on community projects and livelihood programs. Like we are running a program that deals with helping the poor to have smart houses. We have people in Africa that still have thatched houses. So we are trying to develop them a program that will help the community to contribute. At the end of the day, when a person has got a very poor house, we end up getting a house. So Bridges of Hope is a registered organization in Kenya, and we are focused in partnership and collaboration. We are working with the NGOs across the board, organizations, companies, and government entities to bring hope to the community. Our main vision or main purpose is that we want to try to bring hope to our communities, not only in Kenya, but across the globe. If you do a statistics today, you realize there are a lot of killings, there are a lot of people are getting into bad things because of life, because of environment. So we are trying to bring hope to community, to our societies across the globe. So I'm also a county coordinator of NARIC. NARIC is National Agricultural Rural Growth Inclusive Project that actually promote 4 value chain in Homa Bay County, and this is funded by the World Bank. So we are trying to help the VMGs and the CIGs. CIGs are the satisfied groups that are doing profit making projects, but and VMGs are vulnerable micro groups. Those are groups that are doing things that at the end of the day there is no profit, like conserving water catchment area, building maybe an area where there is a problem in the road. So we are dealing with so many things. So I'm much privileged to be in this meeting today. It has taken some quite a number of days me appearing the meeting because I've been engaged with a lot of activities in the field. But as from this month and going forward, Bridges of Hope will be participating in UnityNet global meetings fully, because we are part of this. We are also having Bridges of Hope as an organization that is being created in Canada, that is being promoted by our brother Lloyd. So we are very happy that we are going to collaborate together. We are ready with our trainings beginning of next week as Bridges of Hope. So if you want to participate, in any area that you know you can help us to, we'll be having both virtual and physical trainings. We want to train groups in agroforestry, agribusiness, agriculture. We have different things. So we have identified 4,500 farmers whom we are going to train on various projects according to the need. So we need people who can volunteer, people who can work with us as Bridges of Hope to do the training, because come June, we are going to embark the community in agroforestry, that is planting of trees in various sectors. That is the government entities, the private sectors, the churches, the roads. We are going to engage the society in planting the trees. So we welcome the UnityNet Global, UnityNet Africa, and any other organization who is ready to partner with us in any other way, be it training. If you can volunteer for training, then we will just give you a day. you do a training based on what you are able to do. So partnership is very important. I'm very privileged to be with you. God bless us all. We are getting to a higher level where we will be raised for the purpose of improving the lives of the communities. Be blessed.
Thank you, Samson. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us and for being here now. This is Andrew Williams Jr. I'm going to take this opportunity to take a commercial break before you leave, Lloyd. I'm going to share my screen. And I also want to acknowledge that this is May 25th is actually Africa Day. It was on May 25th of 2020 that the DNA for what we're doing now actually began. My organization is based in Los Angeles, California, the home of the Tongva people, indigenous people, but I'm the president of 5 Points Youth Foundation. That's a kind of recent activity for me. I've been a lifelong community activist. So May 25th, we actually did 5 days of 24 hours each of launching Africa Week 2020. You can find that by Googling, it's still up. That began a series of activities online that led to 10 days of Juneteenth, from June 29th through June 19th of 2020 through June 29th. For those of you who don't know, here in the United States, the Emancipation Proclamation was passed on January 1st of 1863, but it was June 19th of 1865 when the last enslaved Africans were announced that their freedom had actually been granted. So Juneteenth is that day every year when those here in the United States celebrate that. But I'm going to share my screen briefly with our logo. You've heard several people mention AHIABGA. That's an acronym as well for the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors, Advocates, and Activists. And the intent was originally to have goodwill ambassadors around the world who are focusing on one or more of the Sustainable Development Goals and giving them a platform and opportunity to share that knowledge. That was launched on September 21st, International Day of Peace in 2019. But as Lloyd said, on January 1st of 2020, we formally launched this group. Lloyd represents not just Canada, but the Francophone countries, as well as the Commonwealth of Nations, and most recently, Turtle Island. We have multiple groups around the world that are working for this. But May 25th of this year, we're actually looking to formally launch our AHIABGA-TV network, and everything that we've been doing so far has only been in preparation for that. So in going forward, we will be asking for those participants to acknowledge their relationship with us on a more formal basis. And we ask for your commitment as well to provide us with your upcoming calendar of events and schedule of activities so we can create an ongoing platform so that we can all participate. Lloyd also mentioned that this is the 2021 through 2023 campaign that aligns with the United Nations Global Compact. They have a local network strategy and an Africa-specific strategy. So the ideal is that we are the ones that are actually demonstrating what they claim they want to accomplish, but they won't know about it unless we document it. So the intent for this platform is just to provide you with an opportunity to introduce yourselves and ourselves globally. But I'm going to briefly walk you through this video and also share with you the Andrew Network's website that's under construction. The last part we need to add is AHIABGA. So Juliet mentioned she's part of our Andrew Network's media team, or the AHIABGA TV media team, along with Joseph Akinola. He's not here, but he's been working in the background to develop our website and also our media outreach. As of today, we have 220 registrants that have participated so far with these weekly activities for Indigenous Global Unity Network. Going forward, we'll be sending out an email to all of them about the most recent video and also about the chat. So make sure we have your contact information in the chat so that we can include you if you have not already done so. Thank you very much.
And I will need to get off the call in, again, 5 minutes. I have another call to attend. So I will be departing, everybody. Thank you all. But this meeting can continue with Andrew.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Excellent information, by the way. I copied more today than I have in the last few months, so thank you.
Also, Lloyd, it may be possible if you'd like to share with me your presentation for this week. I'll be able to make it available to anyone that wants access to it afterwards. But we'll talk about that later, Lloyd. I know you have to go. Thank you so very much.
Thank
I
you.
see also that there's a few people that haven't had a chance to speak yet this morning, or if it's afternoon and evening, depending where we are. So, and forgive me if I've made a mistake, but I see, and I saw a comment from Edwin Street, who said he was searching for an inspirational group meetings today and found our meeting on Facebook. And he's grateful to be joining in. We'd love you to say hello if you're able to. Edwin. And if you're unable to, I see also that there is Crystal Brown on the call, and I'm not sure if you've had a chance to speak. It looks like perhaps you're beekeeping, or else perhaps on a different planet.
I'm outside. I didn't. I said so much last week. I wasn't gonna open my mouth. I was gonna let everybody else talk. But hello, how is everybody? And yes, I am beekeeping, but I just stopped to listen. So hi.
And such wisdom to be able to.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, such wisdom to be able to be outside, and this is the world we're living in. Participate in a meeting, to speak and to listen, and to be outside in fresh air and doing things that are important with all the inhabitants and the and Mother Earth. So thank you, Crystal. Without saying many words, you're saying many. You're saying much.
Well, I would like to just give an update. We did have our Arbor Day celebration last Friday, and it was amazing. I think I sent the stream video to Andrew. It has not been. It is the unedited version that the mayor of my town actually streamed to Facebook. So we used one of the children. He used one of the children to actually stream the ceremony to Facebook. It is a little rough, but it did catch the whole thing. And I have not taken it down or attempted to edit it in any way, but we did capture it. And we had great participation, and it was marvelous. And we are going forward with our June 5th tree planting. And we have decided, we have a passive garden right across from one of our community gardens. We are going to do a global tree planting in conjunction with the Abraham Project on June 5th. So I'm very excited to say that we are going to be able to do that. And we're gathering all of our participants together now. Okay, that's it. No more.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Crystal. And I'll double check to make sure I get that stream. But thank you so much. And consider each week a new week. We have a new audience. So feel free to at least introduce yourself briefly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Prophet Aniamu Cox, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, that was my request. I think it's Crystal, you were must have been on a different call, because I get on this one every week, and I had not heard you speak. And so can you share who you are, where you are, and a little bit about that? So the rest of us.
Okay. My name is Crystal Brown. I live in New Jersey, and I am also a master aromatherapist and essential oil, and I am my local healer. I am Lenape Turtle Clan. My family is here in Englewood, and we have been here. We can document 9 generations. So the people that you hear about standing on the cliffs of the Palisades as the people from, you know, the settlers came, those tall, thin people standing on the Palisades watching the settlers come, those were my ancestors, or some of my ancestors. I am an herbalist, an environmentalist. I am the co-chair of my environmental commission here in Englewood. I am a science teacher and just a regular old science geek, an activist. And I was 10 years with Young Living, and now 9 years with doTERRA. And I have built our 3 existing community gardens and direct one, co-direct the second, and am about just making change and helping people reconnect with the planet and trying to be good stewards of the bounty that God has given us and making and leaving this place better than I found it.
And you're outside.
Education.
Is there a way we can get your contact? I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
Oh, I will put it in the chat.
Thank you.
I'll do that now.
Thank you so much. And again, if you haven't put your information in the chat and you're able to, please do. And Stephanie, thank you so much. We are co-creating this. And I do thank you, all of you. We're co-creating this. So we're all in this together. So even if you haven't raised your hand and you want to say something, just do it. Otherwise, I'm going to move to close. So you let me know what you want to do. Is there anyone else here? You're all welcome. Now's the time. I won't drag you into the spotlight, but it's available to you.
Prince Andrew, you mentioned Juneteenth. Were you going to put up a slide or something on that, or what was that? Just the introduction to it?
Well, I was just mentioning the fact that it was we did 10 days of Juneteenth back in 2020. I am supporting other activities for Juneteenth, but right now I'm just focused on May 25th as Africa Day to be that time that we're looking forward to kick off formally the Andrew Networks, the AHIABGA-TV, and all the things that we've been working on up to this point.
Are you going to do something on the network on Juneteenth? Or you want to do something, or I didn't know if you were going ahead, something you were planning.
As I mentioned, I was just referring to the 10 days of Juneteenth we did in 2020, but I'm open to any suggestion to support any activities that are going on, Prophet.
Okay, well, let's think about that, huh? Okay, all right.
All right, so the floor is open.
I just want to tell Madam Juliet, she looks gorgeous. And I did, yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to share with her, this is specifically for her, we probably could talk about this softly. She said, what do prophets do, or do they do people? One of the benefits of being an elder is that you've done so much, it's hard to cover it. So I tell my daughter, she's 52, that 52 is not 72. But one quick thing, I was director and a launcher of a pilot project for babies from birth to 5 who were exposed to drugs and alcohol in utero. So my job was to put together a program that would help them thrive, and they would not be dealing with some of the disabilities that go along with being exposed with the brain and nervous system with drugs and alcohol. So that's just a little bit about me and children. And then once a woman who had about 4 miscarriages had a baby that was 11 days old, and we got to the funeral home. In the funeral home, someone went home sick. So I went in and prepared the baby's body. So I work and do healing from womb to tomb. And so once I dressed the baby, I had put it in the mother's arms. And so she was able to grieve right there in the funeral home. So we do work from womb to tomb, and really pre-womb to post-tomb actually do work. So.
All right. If I also may chip in there, thank you, Prophet Anyanwu. If I also may chip in there, because there's a point when we were discussing about, I look forward to working with you, Prophet Anyanwu, but at the beginning we were talking about hip hop, and I wanted to mention this, Prince Andrew, is that, you know, because I'm involved in sport, one of the banks here in South Africa has is recognizing me as one of the heroes, which I'm quite honored about. And they'll be doing a series. I think they've identified 3 heroes, and I'm one of them in the area of sport. And we all, I don't know if we all know okay, Prince Andrew knows him, one of the biggest hip hop artists and the biggest influencers of hip hop in South Africa, Ricky Rick. He recently passed on, unfortunately to suicide. I mean, this is someone who had everything going for him. So the whole theme of mental health is so critical because, you know, on the facade, someone looks like they've got it all together. They've got the success, they've got the millions, they will come from a good home. But obviously, due to mental health reasons, unfortunately, he took his own life, leaving a wife and a child. But so when we were talking about hip hop, you know, for me, it always leave that bitter twist, bittersweet taste, because I reflect on Ricky Rick, because I mean, but the good thing is he has left such a huge legacy in terms of hip hop. In our country, in South Africa, you can't talk hip hop without talking Ricky Rick. And what's amazing about that is that he uses South African languages. He uses a lot of English, but he uses Zulu, he uses Sotho. So, you know, what we do here and how we communicate and share also empowers us and helps us to stay sane in order to give, you know, to give back to our communities. Because, you know, the area of development, when you work with people, it can be a very lonely space. Lonely in the sense that you have to come across as if all is good, while the burden that they are carrying, the pain that they are carrying, ends up being your pain. I mean, I had to contact my counselor recently to say, I need debriefing because of the things that are happening, and also the rate, obviously, things that are happening to children, things that are happening to women. Yeah, so spaces like this are not just for information sharing, but also it's another way to say it's good to know that I'm not alone in the space of humanitarianism, you know, and this is just my point of appreciating such a space. And I don't think we must underestimate what we do here. And also I wanted to mention that I'm an Africanist. I've always been. I'm inspired by Kwame Nkrumah. So Africa Day for me is a very big, other than being my birthday, it's a very big day for me because it aligns what Africa is, what Africa should be, and what Africa will be if we keep doing the work that we do. So this month, Africa Day is a big thing. And it also, I mean, people like Kwame Nkrumah influenced Steve Biko. Steve Biko is one of the thinkers and also the influencers, the people who influenced the people or the children who marched in June 16, 1976. So as the world, as Africa, we're all interconnected. And the beautiful thing is that, as it said in the poem by Black Gold, that, you know, we are all different seas, but one big ocean. And when the water is in that ocean, no one can say, oh, this water comes from this sea, this one comes from this river, this comes from this river. So my approach in life is that as the different seas, wherever we are, we must realize that we influence this big ocean called the world. So we must keep at it. And it's not easy. Some of us hardly sleep, but we must keep at it. And I wanted to play a video, but I'm not going to do it, of children playing and singing. And that is where I get my inspiration as well.
Why aren't you going to play it?
This is let me say this to you, Juliet, before you do, because I agree with you. Each and every one of us in this space are healers. And I do have, and what you're saying is in divine order. I talked to someone yesterday because I was praying about who comes and who do we have and whatever with the healing network. And someone I talked to, all of a sudden they said, well, you know, I'm doing mental health for caregivers. So the very thing, the need was already, it's kind of like in a divine plan that you speak it, but before you speak it, it's already in place. And so, but then as you're talking, I realized that even though we're already planning to do, you know, because I work in mental health, I've done that for 30 years, but it's not for me to do. I think that's the other thing, is that like with you, like with Oshunye, with Stephanie, with all of us, we have the skill to do the work with people, but then how do you do that and be at certain levels of setting up systems? And so it's about getting people who are still doing the other, but there has to be a place for there'll be, and you and I talked about this, heal the healer, but then we also, what I'm hearing, we need another level, heal the healer that heals the healer. So we have to be able to get to where we are at all levels. So we're working on that. That's part of the work, but go ahead. We'd like to see the video.
Okay. What I'm going to do, because I've opened WhatsApp web. It's on WhatsApp. What I'll do is maybe while someone, I'll send it to you because I'm pressing share screen and it's not doing anything. So I will send it.
Just a moment. Let me. Oh wait, just a moment.
Send it to you.
As you're putting it on the screen, what you both just said, you know, at Maui Aloha Project, which is a container, a makerspace for all of so many of these initiatives, you know, we say, you know, we're trying to be the mothers or the guardians of the children and the communities, but who mothers the mothers? Who mothers the grandmothers, you know? And yeah, it's universal. We need to strike a balance for sure.
Yes, Juliet, all participants can share the screen from this side, so the ball is in your court.
Okay, let me see why am I not, unless, you see, this is where I'm going to now appear dumb, but
let me, while you do that, let me just take a minute or so and speak to what you spoke about earlier. I'm going to share my screen again just briefly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned to you it was back on back in 2020 when we actually launched the first Africa Week 2020. 2020 was very significant in a lot of ways. On August 1st of 2020, I was actually inducted as a prince, formerly of the Easy Igbo Palace in Ghana on August the 1st. But I was able to devote that entire year to focus on my own commitment to this vision. My mother was not an educated woman in terms of going to school. She had to leave school when she was still in grammar school because she was the youngest of 14 children and the darkest. So she had to be the one to go to work first and to leave home first. So she never got the education beyond the 2nd or 3rd grade. But when I was born and 10 years old, on the unfortunate date of April 4th, when Martin Luther King was assassinated, I was first called a nigger in Macon, Georgia, by the same white woman I've been buying my books and newspapers from for 5 years. But she told me to keep my dirty nigger hands off those books or I'd end up dead like that nigger king. And she said it in such a way that she was trying to convey to me something that was good for me. But the point, Juliet, is that my mother, after chastising the woman and sitting down having the talk, she explained to me that all people on earth came from one place on earth at one time. So even though the people that are now maybe in position of power, right? There is no separation between people. And I couldn't hate that white woman or the indigenous people that they killed to, you know, kidnap and bring us here because I have blood of all of them in my veins. So my task at 10 years old was to find a way to reconnect our families. I learned that even though I was born in 1958, it was when I was conceived in 1957 that Martin Luther King actually traveled to Ghana to meet with Nkrumah and others for All Africa People's Convention that eventually led to the formation of the African Union on May 25th of 1963. So it was actually when Muammar Gaddafi changed the name of the Organization of African Union to the the Organization of African Unity to the African Union in 2002 that got the world, I think, more aligned in understanding that Africa as a continent has a vision for the future. So Madam Zuma out of South Africa actually articulated that in her vision of the Agenda 2063. So even though I'm talking quite a lot about the Sustainable Development Goals and United Nations, all these are really within the context of the fact and understanding that it is truly up to us to be the ones to be the change we want to see. But at any rate, Juliet, back in 2020, after my appointment, I was able to get the endorsement of the royalty in Africa to endorse this campaign because both Nkrumah and Kofi Annan are chieftains. They were chieftains in their local tribal community. So again, it was on July 26th of 2000 that the Ghanaian Akan, the United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan, officially launched the United Nations Global Compact. It's a principle-based framework for businesses which aims to catalyze actions in support of broader UN goals, such as the Millennium Development Goals, now referred to as the Sustainable Development Goals. I officially joined as president of 5 Points Youth Foundation on December 31st, 2014, and committed to develop a campaign to register new members of the UN Global Compact local networks through my chairmanship of a global leadership of ad hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors, Advocates, and Activists, AHIABGA. It was on August 1st of 2020 when His Royal Majesty Ambassador Chukwudi Ahinatu, Igbo Ghana, King of the Igbo people of Ghana, and the Council of Chiefs and Elders inducted me as Prince Andrew Williams Jr. of the Obi Izuku Palace with a mission to uplift and promote the kingdom throughout Ghana, Africa, and the world to enrich and enhance its sovereign wealth and legacy. In honor of monarchy of Yaya Olaize Ghana, Her Royal Majesty Uba Awunwa, Goodwill Ambassador, Sovereign Queen, and diplomat, who orchestrated the induction, I am humbled and honored to also uplift the Yaya monarchy to enrich and enhance its sovereign wealth and legacy throughout Ghana, Africa, and the world. So together as AHIABGA Goodwill Ambassadors, we will uplift the life and legacy of Akan Nkrumah Nkrumah. You are not an African because you're born in Africa. You are an African because Africa was born in you. And Kofi Annan, as we grow and build a worldwide, royal, tribal, indigenous, interfaith, neighborhood, and business collaborative to leave no one behind during this International Decade for People of African Descent and UN Decade of Action on the SDGs to support the African Continental Free Trade Area launch in 2021. So Juliet, if you're about ready with your video, I'll share that with you. But for those of you who don't know, I am in fact inducted, and I will be traveling hopefully to Ghana in September on the 10th anniversary of the palace to be finally inducted and installed as a prince. So I do look forward to that, but I represent all of you, regardless of where you're from and around the world in everything I do. So my platform is yours. I'm here to serve. Juliet, the ball's in your court.
No, no, thank you, President. I'll send it to you, please. Just see if you can open it via on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Just something like
All right.
that. Yeah. Thank you.
So we need some funding to go to the installment, Prince Andrew.
My thoughts
Okay.
exactly.
I agree. We all need funding to go to the installment.
Including yourself.
You can ride on your royal robe. If you can just get there, then we can get there.
I'll carry your bags. I mean, first I have to get to the United States, then go to Ghana with you. So it's a double ticket.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Yes.
I have it now, Julia. Just a moment, please.
Yeah, no, it's just a sports thing. I'm involved in sports, just those things that lift one's spirits when you work with children.
Come on, Pepe. Come on, Pepe. Yeah, well.
So yeah, that still puts a smile. Okay, that still puts a smile on my face because that video, it may be 2 minutes long, but there are so many elements there. Number one, I mean, there's dance, there's the sports, and in terms of sport, you know, you have hundreds of children in one space. What sport does in uniform, it actually brings a sense of equality. So you don't even see the type of home or background the child comes from because they're all wearing uniform. It's all about the game. So that's one of the things that I love about sport. It's only when they change into their normal clothes, that's where you realize, this child may need shoes, this one may need clothes. To Dr. Irwin, when I was at this was a couple of days ago, this was literally a few days ago, when I was at that event, that's event by one of our associates, we are launching the school league, because with everything that has happened in the past few years, school sports has been ignored in the schools. So we are using this program to reactivate sports in the school. So that I'm doing in partnership with Sonono Zota Koza Foundation. So there's element of music, there was hip hop, the kids were dancing, and the child who was rapping at the end, that was a bit of rap. You know, that could be the future Ricky Rick, you know, and you saw they were all holding food. And the other good thing about being involved in sports and in communities is that children get a chance to come, not just for the fun, but they know that at least they'll have a decent meal or they'll have something to eat. So, but just being with children and youth, particularly children, it's you know, it heals in many ways. I mean, I've just seen that video again, and it just lifted a certain burden off my shoulders. But it's got, I mean, I could write an essay about that whole video. I know it's positive, it puts a smile, but it also highlights for me the work that we still need to do in terms of sport, because sport, music, the performing arts, we cannot ignore those aspects. And unfortunately, with the pressures that our governments and everyone has, everyone is thinking the formal education, and sports and what you saw there is one of the few moments that children get to have a bit of fun. Because then if they don't have this, they're going to end up doing the nyaope, you know. But I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you, Prince Andrew.
Oh, thank you very much. And from a logistical standpoint, Prophet Cox, I think perhaps we need to think about a delegation from the United States to first travel to South Africa, because Princess Seppi there is also invited to the installment, and the palace is open to all of us. So I'd like for us to travel from the United States to South Africa, which is the cradle of humankind, and then let's all go to Ghana and have the celebration at the palace, and then decide what we want to do.
Yeah, so let's do some fundraising. I was trying to get to Madam Juliet. I now, thanks to this network, have about 5 people in South Africa. It's just like unreal. And so, but I already told her to get a room ready, so I don't need a hotel, right?
No, you don't. I'll just give you my NBNB code. That's good. No, you are most welcome.
And the Bible, Paul said, "I know how to bound and obey, and how to obey." So if I get to South Africa, I will have a place to sleep.
No, definitely. You see, that's the thing about being African, is that yeah, and holding on to the values, is that you actually don't even need an appointment. You know, we grew up traditionally, someone is supposed to rock up, and when they come to the door, there's a saying, and that is how we got colonized. When they come to the door, what you do, you welcome. You before you even ask them a name, someone will go and catch a chicken or a hen in the yard, and they start preparing because there's a guest. And then the guest is welcome, the door is open, they announce themselves at the gate. And yeah, a gate is just a small, it's not even a gate. It's just something that you push, you say you're coming in, and they announce themselves that they're coming from wherever. They're given water to wash their hands. That still is done. To wash their hands, they, you know, you are not asked, why are you here? It is, you say that, you know, this is who I am. And there's a saying that says, oh, you want to learn a lot of Zulu from me. It says, isisu somhambi asingakanani. A direct translation means the tummy of a visitor does not have a size. So meaning when someone comes over, pardon? Oh, okay. The tummy of a visitor does not have a size. So that means when someone comes, you give them as much food as possible, because the whole idea is that you don't know how far they've walked, how far they've come. So when you come, when you all come, you know, you're most welcome. Dr. Risley, I'll just submit a project proposal for for catering.
Yeah, we do, but you know what, Juliet, here's another thing you said, and I think he's still on here. I want to put this out here in terms of money. There's so many small projects, but there was a book I had for years that was called Jumping the Broom. And it was a marriage, you know that book, it was a marriage ceremony that was built on some African centered practices for African Americans, because during slavery, we couldn't have legal weddings. So I'm just saying some of what you're describing, and that's why I keep saying everything in Africa is marketable, just about, I mean, the legal stuff, but just talking about the customs, and we're always using, I had a Babalawo who stayed at my house and we did naming ceremonies, and he would say, get ready. Well, I just had to conjure up something because he didn't tell me how to do it, but I'm saying, you know, some of these things need to be codified and put out there, simple pamphlets, because these are things like we're wanting to do something for Juneteenth, but there's an African-centered piece to that, that these are things that people know, they walk around with, they know them, they have the knowledge from, but they need to be on a piece of paper somewhere so they can bound. I had something I created called a Goon Youth Festival instead of Halloween, because a group of our folks didn't want to do Halloween. And I just created it from scratch and put some pictures in there and sold it at the bookstore for a short time. So I'm saying there's some things that you can actually put and bind and still raise some money with. So that's just one of those, how to codify simple cultural things like welcome. Because if you come to the United States to my house, you're definitely welcome. You just have to call so you can get in the front door. So, so that right there, that taught me something. That's not the African way to say call so I can clean up. And because my son throws stuff in his room, he keeps his room clean, but he piles his junk in my room. At least that's what I say. But anyway,
that's so why, I mean, sorry, and I was just saying that's why as some of us move, I mean, I live literally 5 minutes away from Sandton City. That's why some of us live in the suburbs, because in the suburbs you have to call, because if you come all the way from Soweto to come and visit me and I'm not home, it's a long way to go back home. So, but other than that, you don't ask someone, one thing you don't ask, why are they there? You know, and we find that, I mean, even there's something in speaking of cultural practices, Prince Andrew, when you come, you know that you can't wear a hat in my house or in the house, because culturally a hat represents a crown. So if you come in as a man wearing a crown, particularly a man wearing a hat, you are actually saying you are the king of that house. So the taking off of the head is actually showing respect and humbling yourself. So there's a whole lot. So we teach each other every day. I mean, if Hendrik, he's hopefully still on the line. A lot of my white friends in the neighborhood, when they come in, I always have to remind them, take the hat off. You know, so there's a lot, but it's all good. I mean, culture is beautiful, and it keeps us sane. And you papata. So when I do give you food, you have to papata. Papata is when you do this. When you papata and receive, you don't have to say thank you, because this is another way of saying thank you. So you do this and then you receive.
Well, maybe we can get a book of culture with such a diverse group. Maybe we can get culture with each chapter from a different place. Now, here's an African-American one that you'll like, or maybe, I don't know about the guys, but if you're a single woman, a man can't come to your home and put his shoes. I think they said on, maybe Shunye remembers, but he can't put his shoes under the bed. You have to make sure his shoes are not by the bed or something. So, you know, I just have everybody take their shoes off at the door. But that was
Well,
a
now
goal.
that we've come to the end of this day's event.
Oh, is it the end now? Now when it's getting fun. Just when we're about to pull out the cocktails and the cold drinks and the snacks, Prince Andrew.
And I was about to offer good dishwashing skills for all of this hospitality. So, you know, if you feed me, I'll thank you and I'll do the dishes. So I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, no.
I'm so polite. I'll let Stephanie wash the dishes.
Yeah, no, you're welcome to do that. No, is that the end now, Prince Andrew? Just go and kill the fun. Hey.
Well, in that case, let's open up our videos and let's just decide what we want to do. I have time. We have time. But what I'm thinking of is that actually there's Bunny Bula in South Africa that works as a travel agent. So if we're really serious about this, let's just be serious about it and just start planning. And what you're saying, Prophet Cox, is that we can commercialize all of our activities so that actually we can, all of us individually find ways we can actually begin to commercialize our activities for this particular event. But the idea is to involve our children and everyone else involved so that we can have ways to independently decide what we want to do from that point forward. Why not make this an emancipation proclamation and just decide that we're going to have a third emancipation? Now we're going to free ourselves from all limitations and use the abundance that we have to do what we choose. Let's make this an example. I'm ready.
Yeah. And Juliet, is there something we can do? Maybe there's a project we can do because we can go over there and do training as well. You know, even some of the holistic things that all of us talk about, we can, within all of this pandemic we're coming out of and not quite out of, we actually could, if there were a space 1 day or 2 days, we could actually do training and train the trainers right there on the spot. So I don't know if we can, somebody had told me with Gambia last year, Prince Andrew, that if we had a group of healers, that there might be funding out there if we went as a coalition of healers, but we didn't have like a coalition. But here we have Global Unity Network, and maybe we could go as people who are doing healing, whether it's financial, whether it's holistic, but train the people in some way. Maybe we could go as that, like they do with doctors, you know, Doctors Without Borders. We're healers without healing the healers or whatever, you know.
I love it. Also for Erwan and other business people in the United States, there are in fact grants for business travel. So again, if we can make this to include trade, there is Prosper Africa. They have a $5,000 grant per person for businesses that have a legitimate reason to go. So if we plan this right, we can take advantage of resources that are really already available.
Well, I can train on anything. I got a bunch of stuff. I can see Stephanie smile. I know she can too. I know.
That would be great, Andrew.
Yes, Erwin, we can do that. As a matter of fact, Erwin, it may be possible, since you've already begun your outreach to Africa, to identify all those people and places and make that part of what our trip is. We begin right now in producing the content that actually becomes a curriculum so that we can begin it right now online, and the trip itself could be a continuation of that, and let it be the first annual. The entire world is talking about COP27 now in Africa and Egypt later this year. Why don't we think about ways that we can involve all these things that the world is talking about in what we're doing, addressing all the 17 sustainable development goals, and find ways now we can actually begin to have this global membership drive for the United Nations Global Compact through this collaborative that we're doing. Take a page out of Donald Trump's book, use publicity instead of advertising.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
there will
good
be a
idea.
great exposure, right?
It makes sense. Now we do have people that have joined us late. So if you joined us and you haven't had a chance to introduce yourself, this is the family portion, so we're at home. If you'd like to introduce yourself, I see Albert, you've come in. If you'd like to introduce yourself, now's the time. Jemima, I'm not sure if you have. Doris, I see you came in. So we're in the networking session, so network.
Hello, everybody. My name is Albert Alexander. Thanks for having me here and giving me a chance to introduce Princess Andrew. And if I get all of the other titles wrong, please forgive me. I am an Army veteran here in the United States, and I advocate a lot for veterans openly. But what I don't always say openly is the things that I do behind the scenes for economic empowerment for Black people in this country. And I do a lot of talking about strengthening weaknesses. And so anything that you know how to do it, and then we all can use that. Like, for example, writing a grant that you talked about. If someone knows how to write it, they can write it, and we all can use that same grant to get the grant for traveling, because everybody got different strengths and weakness. Some are great writers, some are not, some are great speakers, some are not. So we all have the same goal. I believe we can use our strengths to help each other do it, because a lot of a hold up is each of us trying to learn how to do everything. And that's not really practical to me, but that's just what I'm talking about now, so we can get along a little bit faster. But that's what I'm all about here in the United States. Albert, I introduced Andrew some long time ago, and I just keep trying to stay along. I used to be a homeless person myself, so I've been struggling for a little while, when now we're getting on our feet. So, and I want to make a difference for other people. But thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Albert. Make sure you put your contact information in it. And for those of you who don't know, I look nice here, right? But I have COPD, right? And among other things, I can't stand or walk for longer than 2 or 3 minutes at a time, right? And then I have rheumatoid arthritis. And then I have sciatica. And then I have gum disease. I have a lot of things going on, but that doesn't prevent me from doing what I can to still move progress forward. So I know I'll be doing this all my life. I just need to ask each of you to do what you can so you can help leave no one behind. That is all I ask. But we do have Jemima, if you'd like to introduce yourself or comments, the floor is open. Heinrich, you've been quiet, but of course, you're part of the family too. So if you like, now's that time.
Oh, well, Andrew, thank you very much. My name is Heinrich van der Merwe. I'm an agricultural engineer. All these things is fine, but sometimes we also need the reality check. I believe very much in the words of Zig Ziglar that said, in the airplane, you must put the oxygen mask first on your own face. You must be able to help other people. Otherwise, this will only stay a pipe dream. In Africa, we are sitting with certain realities. The yield for wheat in Africa equals what the Romans did how many years ago. Where the rest of the world are at 3 tons per hectare, we are at 500 kilograms. We do have the soils. 60% of the high potential land in the world is in Africa. And we need to come up with the science to address this. This is our responsibility, to look at technology transfer and innovation to make things work in Africa. What is the answer? And I mean, we are not at this problem trying to come up with the right answers since yesterday. The burden of famine, the conflict in Africa, the capricious nature of our climate, the lack of technology in education, the risk that's high for financing. And we've heard how many women complain about the fact that the policies in their countries is such that they can't own land. That if you don't own land, what do you offer for collateral to get crop loans and all those type of things? So the problems that we are grapple with is enormous. No wonder there's so many healing and nursing and all these things necessary, because we are sitting in a very serious dilemma when it comes to food in Africa. At the moment, the systems produce barely enough food for the people that's running the systems. And somehow we need to come up with solutions, I believe Africa can be the #1 in agriculture in the world if we do it right. And we need to find a way. We need to start looking at those horizontal clusters that we are talking about, get community-based organizations to stand together, because I'm a firm believer in the fact that, you know, nobody is perfect, but a good team can be. And the one thing that's happening on this Thursday events is that slowly but surely we are being molded into a team. The same with Irvin's group. You know, we are grappling with real problems. We are getting first-hand information from people that are dealing with these problems on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I mean, I can carry on for hours about Africa and so forth, but we need to be innovative. We need to come up with solutions that can solve the problems. And we will have to put heads together. You know, if there's no food, you know, all the other wonderful things is not possible. So we need to start with the basics. We need to be realistic and say, guys, how do you do it in a sustainable way? You know, in Africa, I've seen so many projects where people invite me to look at irrigation. And then when I start walking in the lands, I found out, you know, there used to be irrigation system on this land. You know, what happened to it? So you know, it cycles. There's people that help get things going. And when the oversight is, you know, taken away, everything laps back to nothing again. And we, you know, sustainability is something that is going to happen, as you've said, Andrew, now, not only for us, but for our children and their children, and perpetually there is benefit that we are creating for people in Africa. And that is for me, the key question that we need to grapple with. How do we do this? How do we get people to work together to help each other? How do we, the only way that we are looking down is when we're helping somebody up, as we've heard in that video tonight. Thank you.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Heinrich. And I want to invite you and each of us to identify the successful activities that are happening to address the issues that we have in front of us. The way for us, I believe, to move forward, particularly in the context of our children, right? Our children will not listen to what we say, they'll watch what we do. So I would urge each of us to begin to actually identify what successful activities we ourselves are doing and those that are being done by those around us. And let us then begin with successes so that we can show these small successes and build upon those to larger successes. That's a generic statement, but the floor is open for comments and questions.
I have another generic statement I'm really mindful of, and that's from Marcus Garvey, because he said, by liberating the minds of men, we liberate the bodies. One of the things that I think that many in mental health has discovered, myself included, is that all these things are great, but we know even with the great amounts of money that is acquired by people who catch lotteries and even play sports, sometimes within a couple of years they're broke. Why? Because there's something that did not change from the psychological standpoint. So mental health is a big piece, I think, that needs to be a part of it. I was glad, Prince Andrew, in that information that you shared with me about the health sustainable goal number 3, that when I drilled down into it, there really was, I hadn't seen mental health any place, because when people are bound up with trauma, with everything else that goes on, and there are things that happen. So we have to start doing prepare. So it still goes back to healing. But one of the things I did that kind of—
before you go too far into that, please limit yourself to 2 minutes so we'll allow others to talk. Thank you.
I'm wrapping it up, because there was something you said about the high blood pressure. There are a lot of conditions that are going on. What do we do? And quite frankly, we do have an answer for some of that. So, and they're simple, inexpensive things. So I'll just leave it at that. So I was happy when you mentioned that, because there are already things that can be, and we can bring that when we come to South Africa in September. So I'm done.
Well, actually, I'd like to get to South Africa about August. So we'll have time there before we go to Ghana in September. Well, that's another story altogether.
But that's a gift we can bring. So we're coming with some. So I'm glad you said that. So you can help us do fundraising, because we do have some things to bring that will be helpful.
Well, again, part of the challenge that Heinrich is telling us is that we have to find ways to first become self-sustaining in what we're doing for ourselves and then use that as a reason that people can ask us to then expand that to somewhere else. But Erwin, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, following up what Henrik say, basically, I think this is a problem all over the world, I think. And we not only Africa or South Africa, we have to be honest about this. I think one of the main problems, the root cause of the problem is corruption. So we have to be somehow to have a paradigm shift as far as approaching the issue. We have all the resources. Africa has all these resources, has the human resources, young people is available. And right now they don't have job, they don't have anything. But if we be honest, a lot of these things need transparency practice. We need to be open in terms of anti-corruption, to be open about preventing corruption. I think this is the best way that we can do in terms of approach it from the bottom. We will be approaching this from poverty approach, where it's from people from the root part of the that capable to wake up. So when we have this program with the alleviating the poverty, I think we can expose all this issue about corruption through the transparency process in the very I think powerful way, because we start from the people from the bottom, not from the top. Because I think trying to be transparency from people from the top is not very easy. But I think if we start from the bottom, everything will be opening up from the bottom. I think we'll be able to send a signal, strong signal, that this is what we need in order to be in everybody in the well-being status. All these things, it will be a start from there. So I'm hoping maybe if we're going to meeting in September in Ghana, let's expose this issue where we have the project hopefully come up with all these many countries that we are trying to develop right now, and expose this issue that we can do this in transparency manner. Everything can be done in transparency way. So either somebody providing the grant or investing, they can be very comfortable knowing that everything is being done in transparency manner, everything being monitored, everything being checked, what happened to it, the quality, where the money goes, where the money spent, and everything has to be transparent. And let's do that in this meeting in Africa or in Ghana. I think that would be a good opportunity where we can say, okay, we start from the bottom, clearing all this anti-corruption, and then doing it in transparent manner, so that we can get the result of what we wanted, and all the stakeholders are happy about it. So I think this is an opportunity, I think very good opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Erwin. I'm going to briefly share my screen one more time. This is, in fact, transparency that you're mentioning is only...
As a member of the UNGC and Ethics Base, our mission is to accelerate the world's progress towards sustainability by crafting the most compelling solutions that help our clients build and maintain sustainable supply chains that benefit the world. We do this by providing the data, analysis, and tools businesses need to drive holistic and quantifiable improvements in supply chain resilience. But what exactly is the UNGC? The UNGC is the United Nations Global Compact and is the largest corporate sustainability initiative in the world. It calls on its members to align their operations with 10 universal principles on human rights, labor, anti-corruption, and environment. What are these principles? Principle 1. Businesses should support and respect the protection of internationally proclaimed human rights. Principle 2. Business should make sure that they are not complicit in human rights abuses. Principle 3. Businesses should uphold the freedom of association and the effective recognition of the right to collective bargaining. Principle 4. Businesses should uphold the elimination of all forms of forced and compulsory labor. Principle 5. Businesses should uphold the effective abolition of child labor. Principle 6. businesses should uphold the elimination of discrimination in respect of employment and occupation. Principle 7. Businesses should support a precautionary approach to environmental challenges. Principle 8. Businesses should undertake initiatives to promote greater environmental responsibility. Principle 9. Businesses should encourage the development and diffusion of environmentally friendly technologies. Principle 10. Businesses should work against corruption in all its forms, including extortion and bribery. The UN Global Compact provides a universal language for corporate responsibility and provides a framework to guide all businesses, regardless of size, complexity, or location. Over 80% of businesses attribute their progress on sustainability to participating in the Global Compact. We believe responsible business practices can bring about powerful change, and that's why we support the UNGC's principles. As a member of the UNGC, ethics-based strongly aligns with these principles, and our products are designed to help other businesses do the same. To learn how we will change, and that's why we support the UNGC's principles. As a member of the UNGC, ethics-based strongly aligns with these principles, and our products are designed to help other businesses do the same. To learn how we can help you meet the UN Global Compact, visit ethicsbase.com.
And Erwin, I just shared that with you because, again, my own organization, 5 Points Youth Foundation, we're a member of the UN Global Compact, but I became involved in 2011 through the Black Emergency Management Association that Lloyd mentioned earlier. And technically, any of our nonprofits that do want to join the United Nations Global Compact, it's free for nonprofits to join, and they've just opened up their membership program. That's part of the reason I'm having such a big push right now. For the first time ever, there is a woman of African descent who's the CEO of the UN Global Compact. She has lived experience. Actually, she's from Kenya, but she has lived experience as a business owner and one of the larger corporations in Kenya, Safaricom. So I'm suggesting that what we do, Erwin, is align our efforts in such a way that we do, in fact, showcase anti-corruption and transparency as a key focus of everything we're doing. And if you're willing to take on that responsibility, I would suggest that you become, or your organization become, the quote unquote treasurer of this to make sure that we are completely transparent in all of our efforts. But that is a separate conversation longer than we have time here for now. But Juliet, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, mine will be on a lighter note, and I do agree with Dr. Erwin. Okay, let me put my screen on so that it's family. I do agree, and also that the whole approach in terms of anti-corruption needs to start at an early age, and that's one of the things that by teaching a child not to steal, but teaching them not to lie. And with us on our program, we introduce it very early. You know, there are consequences for a lie, there are consequences for anything that is not positive. So it starts early. But as you close, Prince Andrew, I just wanted to see if you can play. I think that's an African way of also maybe closing. There's a video I sent, but as I said, mine is on a lighter note. I did share it on one of the groups or on some of the groups. It's called Imbongi. Imbongi is a praise poet. She is welcoming the Minister of Tourism as she attends the African tourism that's taking place in Durban currently. So if you don't mind, I mean, you can close with that. It's on a lighter note. It's Nisi Xhosa. She's just welcoming her, and she's welcoming the whole of Africa and all the thousands of people, because there are more than 4,000 delegates at that tourism Indaba. So yeah, that's what she says in Xhosa. And at the end, she also praises the fact that we have ministers leading us, and she specifically said we're being led by women who yeah, but obviously in a respectful way, who have breasts. Yeah, if you can play that, the video.
Actually, the video is turned sideways, at least on my end. But in my own computer, I have multiple media streaming, so it's impossible for me to do that at this point. So I would suggest perhaps we think about doing it next time.
Oh, okay. All right. The other one is just a song. No, that's fine because it's not going to look right if it's turned sideways. Yes. The other one is a song, but it's up to you. It's just a touch of Zulu traditional music. Yeah, it's some of the elements that we might include in the song that we are working on, but not the actual song.
It's about 6 minutes long, so I'm going to close. I'll play.
Yeah, well, it's too long.
But no, I'll play it after we do our closing thoughts and comments, so that those that want to listen can. So the floor is open. The floor is open to close. Now's the time for any closing thoughts before I begin playing the song that's going to take us out.
Blessings to all. That's all I have to say. And on the note of being realistic, I think, well, I won't say anything about that right now. I just know that for many years I've been told that, and so many things that people say were not unrealistic became real. So just keep hope alive, I guess is what I say. There are things, I think someone said, there's more that exists in our world than we know, something like that. I think Shakespeare said that. Prince Andrew, you may know that quote, there's more that exists in the universe than in your world. Horatio, I think, was a thing. So there's so much that's possible. And that's how we get through a lot of this, stuff that we're dealing with. One day at a time, one step at a time, one bite at a time, if we're tackling an elephant. So anyway.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Just as part of the closure, also to touch on, to say that, people might be poor financially, or countries might have problems. Those were my thoughts when Henry was talking, that in a space where there's absence of wealth and financial wealth or material wealth, it is important to build the soul, or to build wealth in the soul. So things like music, things like the arts, things like communication and community are what we need to strive for, so that we have a holistic development of people. So the Zulu saying that says, umuntu umuntu ngabantu, it means you need to build yourself first, which I agree with, but it also means build yourself in other areas so that you don't have to judge your worth based on material that you have, but judge yourself on the value of and the wealth of your soul. So in closing, I just want to say that we need to continue and look at the person beyond material and build the soul for them to be able to have the strength to go and capture material wealth. That's what I'd like to end with.
That John was just sharing. And I also want to add that when the Global Compact was created, it was done by Kofi Annan with a view to finding a way to give globalization a...
Sorry, I had multiple things going, as I said. Give me just a moment, and I'll get back to that, to the audio, just a second. Here.
Happy
That's all? Okay.
No, it goes on. But I don't know if you have clothes because we can play it as if, so that other people can leave if they don't want to stay for it, for the song.
Well, that's what I was doing.
Okay, all right.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye, Hendrik. We're going to stay and dance for the next 5 minutes.
Blessings to everyone.
Yes, Juliet?
Yes, I think it might have gone on repeat. Can I just, as beautiful as that sound is, well, I don't know what you think about it. Before I complimented
I think it is beautiful music, and I'm hoping that one day we will be able to send a group of young people from Africa to the Broadway or to the to like a Fifth Avenue parade, into one of these African parades. So that would be great if we can do that pretty soon.
Yes, because there's a dance that kids and youngsters do to this type of music. That's why you see as I was moving, there's a, definitely, I heard you, Professor Weasley, on that one, and I'm definitely working on something. With this artist, that's why I can play it, because it's one of the artists that we are working with. And there's dance, there's different cultural groups. Yeah, it's a very good idea that I went and I slept on. What's interesting with music is that if I can tell you the song, sorry to close on a somber note, that song, the artist wrote in remembrance of all his friends and associates that he was planning to work with, whom he lost during or because of COVID. So, how the music is very uplifting, but the actual song is, the words are sad, but he's actually using the music to almost heal himself. So music is very powerful. No, definitely, Dr. Russell, there's a whole lot more where that came from, with dance as well.
Well, we've come to the end of our show today, people. The floor is open for any closing thoughts. Otherwise, we're going to do what we say and get there.
Dr. Rusley, for a change, can close.
Yeah, I just want to have my last thought. Let's do everything that we're talking about into action, and soon.
Well, all right, well, Erwin, that's up to you and me. So let's talk after this and go forward. Let's start.
Yes, great, Andrew. Looking forward to.
All right, everyone, we're going to wrap it up for today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
yes.
Andrew.
I'm going to submit the dance project, but but thank you for this session.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Loved it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We're out.
Bye.
Bye.
It was a good session. It was a good therapeutic session.
Somebody has to click a button.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Oh yeah, before I click the button, I thought I'd give us a chance to say. I thought I'd give us a chance to say goodbye.
Thank you for the hosting.
Yes.
I can start.
I'll give you a bit of a dance with that.
Julie, I love the music. Those music are so nice. I love them. The music, they are so good.
Yeah, no.
They are so great. I like them.
I'll always share. All right.
We'll and Juliet, the music is universal. You don't even have to speak the same language.
Yeah.
We just move together. It's peace. Peace in the making.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
They are great.
I'll send that particular song. I'll get the rights, and Prince Andrew can share it.
No problem. Thank you.
Can you send the word now?
I'll send to Prince Andrew to share. I'll just secure the rights to share first, and Prince Andrew can share it in the group.
And the English, and the English words, the English words,
and the lyrics.
Yeah, the English.
I like okay. It's very somber. I'd rather not. I think as I did explain, but I'll just write a summary. Yes.
Yeah, the meeting is so nice. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Then we have to close the meeting. What's we saying? Oh, Silalala. Zulu says we Silalala.
Nice.
We want homework. Close the meeting. Bye.